We are back and it is time to get going, day 2 and beyond. If you're still here, you survived your first night. I didn't mention this in the last episode, by the way, but if you want to play along with me, I highly encourage it. You may want to wait a little bit to find a base location because I got to figure out where mine is, but definitely encourage everybody to use this seed number that we showed in the first episode. It's down in the description as well, and to play along. But today we have some goals, and our first of these goals is to get enough food to be able to explore. So we kind of touched on this in the last episode. We're going to touch on this a bit more because we do want to get a good long-term food source, because food in Minecraft is utterly important. If you're playing on anything other than peaceful, if you don't have food, you're going to die. Also, I forgot to mention in the last episode, but if you die, you will respawn at the point where you first came into the world, or if you do have a bed down that you've slept in and you have not broken, you will respawn at that point. You can then go back and get your stuff. One of the reasons that you want to leave your coordinates on is that way you can kind of find your way back. So what are we doing right now? Well, we're getting some of those temporary food sources, things like sheep, cows, and even some sweet berries. Now, despite what Waddles says, if you've ever watched Waddles, he loves the sweet berries. They're not that great, but they are better than nothing. So what I'm doing here right now is I'm setting myself a very, very temporary place to just kind of hang out, get some food cooked, and we need to find our first piece of iron. We're gonna do another episode really soon on just iron, where to find it, the best ways to find it, etc., etc. But for now, if we could find ourselves just a little bit, we can make something that's going to be really important to surviving early on in our world, like we're trying to do right now. So for now, just to keep things safe, we're gonna stay mostly surface level. Like, we can poke in a little bit and be okay, but we don't want to go too far down into the caves yet because we're still trying to get to a point where we feel safe. We can look down an area like this with spooky cave sounds that I don't like. That's lava. I suggest staying away from it. And there it is. There it is right there. Our very first piece of iron. And we just found our first iron. Now, I do have a little pro tip for you, and that is the crouch button. So whatever device you're on, crouching can save your life. The reason why crouching can save your life is because in Minecraft, if you're crouching over the corner of something, you cannot go off of that block. So that lava down there, as long as I'm still crouching, I'm safe. I will not fall off the edge of the block and until I start to not crouch. It is a good way to just generally travel around. I'm even doing it right here where I'm mining, because you never know when you're one block away from uncovering a secret hole below you, and holding down that crouch button can be the difference in you falling into the hole or you surviving. You'll also notice too, anywhere that I'm going right now, I'm always setting down my bed whenever I'm like stopping for a period of time, because it's about to turn nighttime and we do not want to have to go against all the mobs again, the skeletons and the zombies and the creepers. Definitely not the creepers. So as it's starting to get dark, I'm just gonna tap this bed every so often, and I'm actually able to sleep before it gets to the point where mobs can start spawning. That way, I know, again, that I'm gonna be staying safe. I recommend that you do this. Always keep an eye out for where the sun is in the sky, and once it starts getting dark like this, pull your bed out, go to sleep in it just like so, and now it is morning time again. We don't have to worry about any monsters again for about 10 minutes, because 10 minutes is how long it takes for the sun to go down again. We're gonna take our piece of iron here. We're gonna make a few planks like that, and we're gonna go over to our equipment tab, and we are going to select the shield. The shield is something that will save your life. Now, any mob that tries to hit us, as long as we are crouching like this, the shield will be up and we will block any incoming attacks. So in any event, I did mention that we have a few goals for today. We want to find a safe place to set up a temporary camp. We would also like to set up a few chests. That way we have a place to drop off all of our goodies that we want to keep and come back to them. And like I said, we would like to have enough food available to us to go into the caves. We're getting close to that point. We're not quite there yet. So I do have a few suggestions for you in terms of setting up your first place to set up camp. Now, I'm not going to do this because I kind of have an idea of what I'm looking for. We're going to go over that in just a little bit. But as you can see, I just made myself a whole bunch of torches, which is just sticks and coal. And these torches, I can run around and set them around me. I'm going to do this to keep this place safe from mobs spawning while I'm out and about doing things. That way, in case somehow I get caught out away from my base at nighttime, or in my base without sleeping, so it's nighttime, I do not want mobs to spawn too close to me. So I'll go through, I'll just kind of sprint around a little bit. I'll place torches around randomly. So what we could do is make ourselves a nice little safe space. And since I'm by the water here, especially because mobs can't spawn in the water outside of these drowned guys, they're a little annoying, but they will not attack you during the daytime. This gives us a somewhat safe space. If we wanted to set down a couple of chests, set down our bed, crafting table, some furnaces, and we could start to collect and do things. You have a few other options too though. And we actually just ran across very randomly the best option that I was going to recommend to you, what we're going to end up doing here. I was moving over this way and I saw, oh, there's some pumpkins here. So I was going to tell you guys that you should collect pumpkins. Little did I know these pumpkins were planted outside of a village. So first of all, do we want pumpkins? Yes, we do. Pumpkins are great for trading and they will do us a lot of good later on. But here we are, we're inside of a village, which is awesome because we can look through this village and we can find things. We can find chairs, which actually looks pretty cool. I did not know that they generated this detailed. And we can find chests, and those chests will sometimes have goodies in them, like food, more iron. We got some gold. Oh wow, and even an iron pickaxe. But unfortunately right now, we're starting to run out of space. And how do I have 2 shields? Did I make a shield in episode 1? I must have made a shield in episode 1. You can now make yourself a shield. I didn't realize it. So the best place where you can set up camp is actually, it's where we are right now. It's inside of a village, because if you set up camp inside of a village, you have a lot of resources at your disposal. You're gonna have all the things that you find in a chest. You're gonna have potatoes. We do have potatoes. I'm gonna talk about how awesome potatoes are here in just a little bit. We're actually gonna put them in our inventory right now. We got pumpkins, we got villagers, we got carrots. Oh, we have so many great things. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna look for a little bit larger size house. This one looks kind of larger-ish. Yeah, and we're gonna call this our little temporary home. And our temporary home is going to have some temporary chests that we're going to set up right over through here. Maybe we'll put one over here right there as well. And now we can start to get our inventory organized, or maybe more importantly, just empty things out. We'll put like blocks and mob drops and things like that we don't need to carry with us all the time right in here. We'll put like extra food and other generally valuable things in here. By the way, you have to do this every time. If you don't do it, you're crazy. Keep some mementos in your world just to kind of remember where you've been and where you've gotten to. We have our first wooden pickaxe, our first wooden axe here. We're going to keep a hold of those guys. We're not going to let those go anywhere. I would like to keep them. Also, over here in our new temporary house, we have a smoker, and a smoker is going to cook our meats faster. So we can put beef in here, for example, and I could put a piece of coal in here and it will cook it twice as fast. Although maybe instead of the coal, maybe I'll put these few planks I have left. And last but not least, there was one other area that I was going to bring up that you can go to kind of set up yourself a little temporary base. It's going to feel safe to you. That place is actually going to be down in a cave. Now, before you say I'm crazy, hear me out here. When you go down into a cave, first of all, you find good stuff like this, like some iron, but more importantly, you have control over what's going on around you. I can torch up a ways that way. I can torch out a ways through here as well. And I know that mobs aren't going to creep up on me. Even more so, I could put up a little fence or something right here, or a wall and a door, and I'm going to keep mobs away from me. And then we can dig into here and we can dig ourselves out little areas. We could dig ourselves a space for a furnace and some chests and a bed to go. We could dig ourselves out a space to plant some crops and that sort of thing. But we could get those spaces dug out and make sure that we have a safe area where we can grow for a little while. And then, like we're going to do in the next episode, whenever we want to go caving, we can explore down into the cave and see what's going on and have our little spot right here to very easily come back to. But as I said earlier, we're going to be taking full advantage of this village. So let's go back topside instead. So if you were so lucky to do so and you followed my advice, you're probably in a village right now. So my recommendation is to go through and pick up all the things that you need. A village is full of a lot of nice little resources. We even got little baby villagers here we could play with. How you doing, little buddy? Hope you're doing good. And we could pick up all these little pumpkins around. The carrots are not really a good food, so I'm probably not going to do much with them. The pumpkins are good. The pumpkins we're going to take, and we're going to use those a while later to create ourselves a nice little farm to make trading better. But for now, let's just go through. Let's check out all of the little areas that we have here and see if we can find any other chests that'll be good for getting some materials from. Now this guy right here, His name is Paul. He's security around these parts. He's actually an iron golem. Iron golems, they're nice to you as long as you're nice to them. And in fact, he's probably the reason why that zombie was just a pile of zombie flesh now. Because if any monsters roam into here that are normally aggressive to villagers, like zombies or skeletons, Paul here, he's gonna take care of business. He's gonna send them packing. But if you happen to punch Paul, or maybe you kill a villager, he's not gonna be happy with you. And I promise you, if Paul's not happy with you, you're not gonna be happy with Paul, because he will kill you in 1 to 2 hits. So be nice to Paul. Okay, now at this point, we're gonna make something here with our iron. We're gonna make a bucket. And then we're gonna take those potatoes that we found, there they are, and we're going to craft ourselves up a hoe. This is gonna be one of the more important parts about, oh my gosh, we have taters for days. Yes, this is exactly what we needed to run into. I did not know these were here, and I am so excited now. Let me show you why. Now, I have gone just outside of my village a little ways. The village is right over there, and I want to get myself a somewhat flat location to work with. So this is a good spot. I got a few trees in the way, so I'm going to chop those down. And the nice thing about chopping down trees is you don't have to chop down the leaves. The leaves will automatically decay over time, dropping you nice little things like saplings, and sometimes trees will drop you apples depending on the tree. Sticks will fall from there as well, but this right here should get us a nice enough spot. Now, I always like doing this close to water, so let's get ourselves a bucket, and there is a ruined nether portal. Ooh, let's check that out. You can sometimes find good stuff at these ruined nether portals too. Don't be scared. There's no bad guys at a ruined nether portal. There's sometimes lava, and there's those magma blocks, so be careful, but don't be scared. So let's take a look in here. Oh, we got ourselves a sword, helmet, some iron nuggies. Yes, I said nuggies. And we have ourselves a gold block up here, which apparently gets destroyed when you use a stone pickaxe. Don't be like me. Don't use a stone pickaxe, because that would have been really nice to have. Anyways, getting back over here, we got our bucket of water on us. We're gonna go back up here, and we're gonna grab a little spot, like roughly in the middle of where we just were. We'll knock out some of this stuff right here. We'll put a hole in the ground right here. We'll put our water in there. We'll clear out the grass in the area. And while we're not going to go over farming mechanics in full right now, we're going to do that in a few episodes. One important thing for you guys to know when you're doing this is that if you put down a bucket of water or water in a hole, you can go out 4 blocks in each direction, and this soil will be hydrated. Hydrated means that it's getting water, therefore plants can grow on it. If you don't have hydrated soil, the farmland will change back to just regular old dirt and then eventually grass again. So make sure that you have hydrated soil. And then what we can do here is we can plant our potatoes, and they will start to grow. Now you're gonna notice here, I'm starting out by doing these potatoes in every other row. The reason why I'm doing them in every other row is because they actually grow 2 times faster that way. If you have a potato diagonal from another potato, that potato will not grow as fast. So what we're gonna do, because speed is important to us right now, is we're gonna do this in every other row, just like that. And we're gonna wait for those to grow. Then we can harvest them up, we can fill in the whole field, and then it won't matter as much that it's going 2 times slower, because we'll just let it grow up while we go do other things like adventure into caves, chop down trees, protect our village, and that sort of thing. So when I say protect our village, what I mean for now is just placing a bunch of torches around it. Because if and when we go caving, if we are anywhere close to our village, mobs can spawn up here. So we need to make sure that mobs are not spawning inside of our village, because while we do have Paul over there to kind of help protect things, Paul can't watch the whole place all by himself. You're gonna have zombies and skeletons walk in, and they will kill your villagers. So I recommend placing torches around everywhere. You may even need to wait for it to become nighttime, so you can just kind of take a look at the area in the dark and make sure that you've left no dark spots, because mobs can spawn anywhere where there is not light, at least the tiniest bit of light. So we need to make sure that we're very thorough in where we put all of our torches. A few other tips while you're trying to make your village or your place safe: make sure you get all areas lit up. So in this case of the village, we want to make sure we put some torches on top of the houses, because yes, mobs can spawn up here and they are probably not very well lit. So throwing a torch on each side of a house like this is going to be, if I can get it up there, is going to be preferred. There we go. Also, don't just torch inside of the village, but after you get everywhere inside of the village torch, make sure you go outside, and you might want to do a couple of like little loops or laps outside of the village as well, just to keep mobs a little bit further out and make it less likely that they're going to wander in. Now that we have a decent amount of lighting set up around us, we can come back and take a little look at our farm here, and you're going to see there are numerous growth stages of the potato plant, and I think there's 4. We have like the beginning stage, which is not growing at all. Then we have the second stage. You can see the potatoes are poking up a little bit more. The third stage, the stem's getting a lot higher. And then the fourth stage right here, you can kind of see, like when I hover over, you see the hitbox going around, and you can tell that the leaves actually stick up above the hitbox. This guy right here, he's ready to be picked. When I knock it up, you see I just got 4 potatoes right there. Knock this one up, got another 3 potatoes. It takes a little bit of practice to get used to when to knock them up and when to leave them. Like if you knock this one up right here, even though it's a couple stages in, I only get 1 potato out of it. So it's not really going to do me a whole lot of good. We are going to continue to let these guys grow at their faster pace. Also, if you want to grow an additional crop with it, like we could even do this right now if we really wanted to, you can knock up all of these like little pieces of grass around. You'll notice sometimes you get seeds like this. You could take those seeds if you like and fill those into the gaps, since it's a different crop than the one that's there already. Meaning if we put anything here other than potatoes, we'll actually get that increased speed still, because it's not the same crop that's diagonal from each other. And in a place like this where we have a whole lot of grass all over the place, we could pretty easily just run around and keep breaking this grass and then get all the seeds that we need to fill in. And that'll help us get some wheat, which we can either use to make bread or we can use to breed animals. We'll go over animal breeding and the efficient and best ways to do that in a future episode. But for now, if you want to breed up some cows or some sheep, getting some wheat by planting down some seeds is going to be the best way to do it. And then one last tip for your early game crop farm. For this one little water source right here, as long as there's still water there, which if you waterlog that block, there will be. You can't put a full block there, but you could take a half slab and put it here like that. It still has water, so it's still being hydrated, but yet you cannot go into here and fall into it. You can put a torch on top of it because lighting up your crops will make them continue to grow faster. And always keep in mind that jumping on a crop square like so can knock up your crops and get rid of your tilled farmland. So make sure you're not jumping around here. Make sure also that you don't have any ledges close by where something like a sheep or a cow or a mob at night or something could come over and fall down on top of your square, knocking up your crops. And I do have one final thing. So when you come into a village, it's probably not going to be a taiga village like this, but regardless of what village it is, if you have regular crops around, like in this case, we have a bunch of carrots here, you're probably going to have farmer villagers around that are going to come through and farm up these vegetables, and they will then start to plant their own. If you don't want a certain vegetable, like let's say in my case, I don't want carrots because carrots are not a good food source. What I can do is I can just knock up all the carrots that already exist here, and then I can start to plant down the potatoes, and then the farmer villagers, they will then pick up those potatoes when they grow. And if you keep breaking the carrots every time they plant them and store them somewhere where the not dropping them down on the ground for the farmers to get, then they will run out of carrots, and then they will start planting the potatoes for you. And after I have gotten my farm on for just a little bit here, look what we got, guys. We got taters. Yes, we do. We got plenty of taters now, 64 of them to be exact. Once I pick them all back up, hold on. 5 second rule. 5 second rule. You can pick them up and still eat them. We have a whole stack of potatoes now. We'll let the wheat and potatoes continue to grow over here. I do kind of like to go through and pick them every once in a while just to make sure we keep getting new potatoes and we keep our stock up. We'll knock up the wheat here too. You can kind of see there as I pick the wheat, when it turns that full golden yellow color, you can go ahead, you can pick it, you'll get wheat, and you'll get hopefully at least one seed, if not a few, so you can kind of keep planting as they go. But now that we got potatoes and we have a good food source, it's time to hit the caves. But in the next episode, we're not just going to hit the caves, we're going to go over to the area that's going to be where I set up my eventual base and all of our good things. So if you want to know where that base is, you're gonna have to continue on into episode 3 of the Bedrock Guide. I appreciate you all watching today. If you enjoyed today's video, that like button's down there. Go ahead and give it a little thumbs up. Also subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and drop a comment down below because comments help the video get seen and serve to more people. See y'all next time. Bye.